even if it seems crazy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's risky.
Where he is, and when he is calling me, like, I am going on the other side of what's comfortable is actually the abundance that he has for us.
There is a misconception that we need to talk about. A lot of people think that just because we follow Jesus that we're gonna have this comfortable, easy life, but that actually couldn't be further from the truth. Since we've both been following the Lord, our lives have been uncomfortable, they've been risky, and yeah, they've been those things, but they've also been beautiful because that is what he's calling us into. When we're believers, he's going to call us to do things that make us uncomfortable for the betterment of us and for the kingdom. So it's actually something that we can be embracing and not thinking to ourselves like, oh my gosh, I did something wrong, but instead, wow, God is inviting me into a season of deeper trust, deeper risk, deeper uncomfortableness for something better. And we, again, have lived this out ourselves because we've done some crazy things because the Lord led us to, such as quitting our jobs and many other things that we'll get into in this video. But we can both say that those risks and those moments of being uncomfortable, even if the world thought we were crazy, they were worth it because it brought us closer to him and it shaped us into the people that God is creating us to be. And we're reading about this in Genesis right now. We're doing a little study together and we're reading about Abraham. And we know that Abraham was known for his faith. And we read about it that, again, like the Hebrews Hall of Fame, right? All these people that were like faith-filled people. And Abraham did some crazy things. He didn't even know what the next step was. God's like, hey, I want you to move here. Boom. He's like, all right, next day I'm here. I want you to take your son up and sacrifice. Boom, I'm gonna go do it, right? And it's just believing and trusting in who God is, that when he invites us or calls us to do something, that even if it seems crazy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's risky, that there is something there for us. And it's a beautiful place to be. So we want to share some of the crazy moments of our lives, right? That have kind of summed this up.
Crazy moments and like what we learn out of those crazy moments. That's like what's super important.
You go first.
The Lord asked us like so many crazy things and we both pick like top three, the biggest or the hardest things that he asked us to do, that we had to do. And yeah, we did a lot of small things also, like when he asked you to pray for someone or on the streets or going on outreaches or those kind of a small uncomfortable things. But we more want to, today we kind of want to talk about big life things that we did. This is not in particular order, at least for me. I'm not going to do my top three, but the three in general. The first thing that was super hard for me was, it was like 7 years ago. Okay, just a little painting of the picture. I was in my community. The community is like seeing all the stuff, all the miracles. It was like mini revival. People are starting to come. Everything was like seeing amazing. I was praying for people. I was preaching. I was like, it was amazing. I felt like home there. Until God told me to leave my community. And I was like, Lord, what the heck? I cannot do that. Like my everything is there. Like my friends, it was like my family. And that was actually the point, because I made an idol out of my ministry, out of my community. That became so much so an idol that it, like when something is an idol, that means it's in front of the God. That means I come to that first, then I come to God. And that's what has been happening in my heart, and that's why God was like so strict about it and say, you need to leave this community. And I remember it hurt so bad. Like the first night I cried like a baby. It was horrible. It was like an ugly cry, as you would say. It was an ugly cry because it hurt so much, because it was an idol. And I did not know it at the moment. I did not recognize it at the moment. It made no sense to me in the moment, but like a year later I recognized this has been the best decision of my life, because now I finally had a chance to build my own relationship with the Lord, build my own life outside of the community, and just burn not alone, but like have this fire and flame inside of me as an individual that then I pour into the community, not the other way around.
Right.
So this was the hardest decision ever, because again, sometimes the Lord will call us to get rid of our idols, and that's why that hurts so much. Okay, second one was actually last year, where I had a group of friends. I have in Croatia. I have everything settled in Croatia. I had a good job, my own apartment, nice friends, family. Everything was like settled and peace. Everything seemed fine. Until the Lord was like, you're going to GSSM, Global School of Supernatural Ministry, for 1 year, which meant leaving my friends, leaving my family, leaving my comfort zone, quitting my job, and doing all of this knowing that I do not have enough funds to fund that. And it was like everything was on the Lord, like, Lord, you will have to provide the finances and everything. It was again so hard, so uncomfortable, but so worth it. Because I would do it all again, because where He is and when He is calling me, like, I am going. And yeah, it was hard. Yeah, people don't understand it. Yeah, some people think you're crazy, but like, if the Lord said it, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So that was my second one.
You didn't say the whole thing. Hello, what did you leave that school with? Hello, how did you forget?
Because I'm rushing too much. I'm rushing. Guys, the most impactful year of my life. I met the most amazing woman alive, and now we're married. Now we're living our lives, our dream lives, and because I was obedient, because I had enough faith and courage to do something that was uncommon, that was uncomfortable. And it shows us how on the other side of what's comfortable is actually the abundance that He has for us. It's actually our calling that is there, that is waiting for us on the other side of uncomfortable and the other side of the fear. So yeah, that was the best year of my life and the best decision of my life, even though it seemed crazy.
So good.
And I think the third one, this one is going to be a short one, because this one is still like to be continued. It's like where I'm living in it right now, where God is telling us that our lives as a married couple is going to look in one way, that it's totally different, totally not normal, not ordinary as you would expect. And to me, as a man who wants to really like lead and serve and provide to this family, it's scary, because I need to rely on Him fully, like give my best, but to rely on Him. And I mean,
just let them know, because He's not calling us to a traditional job, just so they understand that piece.
He's not calling us to a traditional job.
Not a 9 to 5 with a salary, and we know what we're gonna get every month.
No.
No.
That's why it's so kind of scary, especially for me. But like my history with the Lord showed me that what was the scariest always turned out to be the best decision of my life.
That's so good, babes. And we're living it.
We're living it. Okay, I want to hear yours.
All right, so mine are very similar, actually. It's interesting how the Lord brought us together. We have a lot of the same testimonies. I would say maybe 5-ish years ago, I had a great corporate America job, making pretty good money, doing the thing, and that's when the Lord started to kind of pull my heart towards quitting that job. And this was during the heat of COVID. So not having a job during COVID was everyone's nightmare, and people were praying to keep their jobs, and the Lord was telling me to leave my job. So that was something insane, and I had to be obedient. I didn't do it right away. I was not like Abraham doing it the next morning. I continued to pray and to seek Him, and I was like, Lord, if you want me to do this, I need confirmation. But thank God He's okay with that. He's okay with our delayed obedience too. And He confirmed it to me. So I quit my job without having any plans for what was next. It was in the heat of COVID. I had to move back home with my parents. I'm in my 30s. That's not what I was looking to do, right? But in that time, He did such a beautiful work in me and built my relationship with Him, because he was literally all that I had, right? And I actually got to understand what his voice sounded like, and it was just a beautiful time. And during that time, he asked me to lay down the idol of marriage, similar to your idol, right? And it was painful and it was hard, it was uncomfortable, but it was a season of healing and it was a season of growth. And if I hadn't said yes, I would not have the fullness and the freedom right now in Christ. Not only that, this leads me to my number 2, is that if I hadn't quit my job, then I would not have been able to go to Pennsylvania to go to Global School of Supernatural Ministry. Also, a second thing that he asked me to do, I was there a year before him though. So literally, I was excited about this. This was not something that he asked me to do that I was scared of per se, but it was more so like, how is this gonna work? I haven't had a job in a year. Now I'm gonna go to this school without taking a job. That was one thing he was very clear about. He wanted me to go to the school full time and not have a part-time job. Like what? I had to pay for rent while I was there. I had to pay for the school, for food, for gas. It's in Pennsylvania, like all the things. And it's like, really, Lord? You don't want me to work during this time? So it took a lot of trust and a lot of faith. But again, that year was transformative for me because he dealt with so many things that were standing in my way of becoming all that he has for me. You know, the things that were standing in the way of me walking into my calling. And that was the big fruit of that year, which prepared me for year 2 when he came to the school and I met my future husband. So again, taking you back a year before, quit your job, Kayla, lay down the idol of marriage. Fast forward 2 years to now you know your calling, your true calling, you have a free heart, you're walking into what I want you to, and just like Isaac, you lay down this idol, you lay down your promise, and now I'm giving it to you. And that's when I met my amazing future husband. So it was all worth it. And yeah, it was scary and it didn't make sense to the outside world, but when he invites us into these scary question mark moments of our lives, there is so much that he can do with our yes that on the other side, you're not even going to recognize yourself and you're gonna grow even deeper in faith and trust in him, and it's beautiful. My number 3, similar to yours, we're living in it right now. My number 3 was more of, hey Kayla, move to Croatia with your new husband and be away from all of your family and friends, be away from everything that you know, and let's do it. And it's interesting because I always wanted this. I always wanted to live in Europe when I was younger, but it's different to dream about it, and it's another thing when the Lord is like, okay, well, let's do it, and you're like, really? Now? Are you sure? Like, should we stay with my parents for a little bit, my comfort zone? And it has been the most uncomfortable time of my entire life because it's everything all at once. I'm newly married, big life change. Living in a country that is foreign to me. Don't speak the language. Trying to figure out how to be a wife, and oh yeah, you're not gonna have a traditional job, so you're gonna have to rely on me for your finances. So it is all these things at once, and is it easy? No, it's not easy. There's been lots of tears, lots of questioning, lots of prayer time, lots of wondering, did I make the right choice? But God is so faithful, and sometimes when we're in that, I don't know, that like dark space of like, oh my gosh, why am I here? It's when he really meets us in the most profound ways and we kind of feel his presence even more tangible and palpable than we would if everything was going well, right? And it's like Matej said, embracing the uncomfortableness is actually the best thing we can do because on the other side of fear is the true treasure that the Lord has for us. And I would go back and do all of these things 100%. 1,000 times over because now I can see what he had on the other side. But that's the risk. When he asks you to do it, you don't know what's on the other side.
You don't know. It's easy to say it now after the battle, but like then it's like pure trust in the Lord. And I think we as a believers need to be okay with being uncomfortable. And there's always this call from the Lord to go deeper, to go more, to go an extra mile because he wants the best for us. And always, like, when we get to the point where we're too comfortable, too familiar, he's like, okay, let's go. Like,
shake it up! Shake it up! You're comfortable? Not anymore!
you want to grow? You can't stay here if you want to grow. So it's just like obedience and surrender. As we say, like small steps of obedience lead you to a major breakthrough. Like this obedience and surrender will launch us into the deeper, into the more of the Lord, into our calling, into the trueness of our identity. Because when we jump into the new season with the Lord, into the uncomfortable, we're leaving our old identity behind. We're leaving the lies behind. We're entering into something new, and we're actually growing. And that's how the Lord is working in our hearts. And that's why, unfortunately, uncomfortable seasons are like the most important seasons of our lives. Is it scary to be in it? Absolutely. Is it okay to ask the Lord, okay, Lord, can you confirm it to me multiple times? Like, this is a big one. Yeah, it's okay. And it's okay to be afraid. As long as we have Him, we're going to be okay. So that's our message from us to you. Like, you're going to be okay. And everything's going to be okay. And He loves us too much to leave us where we are.
So good.
Yeah.
I want to say one more quick thing that I feel like Holy Spirit just dropped. You don't really know what's deep down inside of you until you're uncomfortable. So this is like a deeper season of pruning, because the things that come out of you when you're uncomfortable and when you're scared, that shows the status of your heart and your spiritual maturity. And that's oftentimes the one thing, the Lord wants to give us these amazing things like marriage and blah, 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 but He was pruning those not so great areas of our heart that He wanted to reveal to us, and then touch that exact spot to really propel us. So you never know what's inside of you until you're uncomfortable.
That was so good, babe.
Yeah, but we love you guys so much. We love sharing parts of our story and our walk with the Lord, and just how risky this walk has been, but it has been fulfilling and amazing. And we wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you and we bless you. Bye.